Hey guys, so WWE Roadblock 2016 went down tonight, and it is not to be confused with the same WWE Network special of the same name that happened before WrestleMania 32. This was a Raw exclusive pay-per-view that just happened to have the same name, and I'm going to break it down for you match by match, starting off with the kickoff show where Rusev took on Big Cass, and the match itself was a huge clunker. It was stunk. Nothing really happened. Rusev and Lana came out first, and Enzo and Big Cass came out. Enzo, of course, cuts a funny promo, and Cass kind of just, as usual, piggybacks off of Enzo's words and does the SAWFT line. The match begins. The action spills out of the ring, and by the time the match is over, Rusev is just simply able to get back into the ring before Big Cass is, because Cass is checking on Enzo. So Rusev wins by a count out. Kind of a dumb decision to have this match on the kickoff show in which you're trying to attract more people to buy the network or the pay-per-view to check out your event, and you give them that kind of a match. Doesn't really make sense to me, and from the storyline standpoint, it still does not make sense to me. Based on, if you had no idea what WWE was, you'd think Rusev is the good guy. He's defending his wife's honor, while Enzo is a perv and Cass is just a dumb idiot who is the friend with the perv. But WWE is trying to play it off the complete opposite. They're saying Rusev is the bad guy and Enzo and Cass are the good guys. Doesn't really make sense. That's WWE logic for you, and to have the match end in a countout, just a dumb decision to me. They already announced that the rematch will happen on Raw with Rusev taking on Cass again, and it's very interesting. Cass has been very protected since he debuted on the main roster. Enzo is usually the one who's taking the pinfalls, and when Cass, aside from that Fatal 4-Way Universal title match on Raw, I think that's the only time Cass has ever been pinned on the main roster. Every time he's lost, it's been kind of a shady circumstance, like today was a countout. So while he is over with the fans, I feel like he's kind of getting the same treatment as Roman Reigns did. So it should be interesting to see, like, later down the line, if fans turn on Cass the way they did on Roman Reigns. Once the show started, the main program, the Tag Team Championship match between New Day and Sheamus and Cesaro started it off, and it was a really fun match. Lots of great action, fast-paced throughout. New Day, it looked like they were going to retain using kind of the heelish tactics and using the numbers game to their advantage. But Sheamus and Cesaro, there was a really cool spot at the end where Sheamus looked like he was going to go for the tag, but Cesaro pulls his hand out. Kofi Kingston doesn't know the tag didn't happen, so he attacks Cesaro, which actually Sheamus is a legal man, so Sheamus kind of steals the pin. They end the New Day's reign of 400-something days that broke Demolition's record. So your new tag team champions are Sheamus and Cesaro, and a fun match. I mean, it's kind of obvious that once New Day beat Demolition's record this past Monday on Raw, that they're going to lose the belts to Sheamus and Cesaro at Roadblock, and that indeed happened. So it was a fun match. I think New Day is definitely going to turn heel in the future. I mean, they gave the belts to Sheamus and Cesaro at the end of the bout to kind of show good sportsmanship, but I feel like they're teetering on that line, and I think they're going to go heel with Sheamus and Cesaro kind of getting over as faces. So that is your new chance, Sheamus and Cesaro, and I think New Day, a heel turn for them, is coming on in the future. After that match, it was the 10-minute time limit match between Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman. Really, it was an okay match. Strowman basically dominated the first half of the match, and Mick Foley later came down to the ring with a towel in his hand, and they spent about 2 minutes outside the ring. Strowman, Zayn, Foley, and the ref talking. Strowman telling Foley to throw in the towel, Zayn telling Foley not to throw in the towel, the ref trying to get everybody back in the ring. Eventually, Zayn grabs the towel from Foley, throws it in the crowd, and he mounts some offense against Strowman. Hits the haluva kick with like 4 seconds left, goes back to hit another one, but time expires. So instead of it being a draw, they declare the winner via time expiring Sami Zayn, which is, I think that's the first time I've ever heard that in a wrestling match where a winner is being declared because time expiring. You usually want to see that in like football or basketball, whoever got the most points at the end of the game. But no, just because Sami Zayn was still standing, he won the match. So weird stipulation. It wouldn't make more sense to me if it was considered a draw, but because Zayn was still alive after 10 minutes, he is the winner. Definitely, this feud does not feel like it's over. I feel like there's going to be a rubber match down the line where either A, Zayn somehow beats Strowman, or B, Strowman destroys Zayn and continues and finishes what he was not able to finish at Roadblock. Following that match, it was Seth Rollins versus Chris Jericho. Okay match, I was expecting a lot more. Kevin Owens gets involved toward the end, and his interference in which he tries to help Jericho ends up ultimately costing Jericho the match. So Seth Rollins wins in an uneventful match. I thought Triple H might show his head, but he did not. Seth Rollins beats Jericho off of Kevin Owens' interference. This was really playing up to the theme of the night where Owens was trying to get back on Jericho's good side. He offers him a festive holiday scarf as a gift of sorrow. Jericho throws it on the floor. Owens is apologizing outside Jericho's private locker room. Jericho doesn't let Owens in, so it looks like the split between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho was final. It looked like WWE was building up to Jericho versus Owens, perhaps at the Royal Rumble, but as we would see later in the night, that did not happen. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, so Seth Rollins beats Chris Jericho. Following that match, it was the Triple Threat Cruiserweight title match between Brian Kendrick, TJ Perkins, and Rich Swann. Okay match, lots of, had a pretty frantic pace to it throughout. I didn't think they got enough time though. There were a couple of botch spots, but overall I found it to be pretty entertaining. There was a cool spot at the end where Swann and TJP both hit a double super kick on Kendrick, and then Swann just turns around and super kicks TJP, picks up the win. He is still your Cruiserweight champion, easily the most over face in the division right now. But what followed the match is the most interesting thing happening in the Cruiserweight division since they were brought up to the main roster a couple months ago. Once TJ Perkins was pinned by Swann celebrating, out comes Neville, who we had not seen in like, I don't know, a few months. Underutilized guy on the roster. He makes his debut in the Cruiserweight division. Long overdue, I think. I think it's a great move on WWE's part, but it gets better. He makes his way down to the ring, offers to shake Swann's hand, but then decks him in the face, becoming a heel in the process. He continues to lay out Swann, lays out TJP, and he walks up the ramp with a mean look on his face. So Neville is a heel. Looks like he's dropping that generic babyface gimmick, and we're going to see some character development out of him, which I think is awesome. And hopefully a heel Neville could be an adrenaline shot to the Cruiserweight division and make it really stand out on Raw's programming. The next match was the 30-minute Iron Man match for the women's title between Charlotte and Sasha Banks. Where can I start with this one? The match overall was pretty good. I mean, it started out really slow, but towards the end it picked up nicely, especially towards the end. Charlotte was working on Sasha's knee, and Sasha had a 3-2 lead at this point, I believe. And she had a 2-1 lead at this point. And all she had to do was hang on, and you could tell she was looking at the clock because the way the camera was angled, you could clearly see Sasha looking at the clock on the Jumbotron, but she taps out with like 2 seconds, so I thought the match was going to end in a draw, but they say it's going to go to overtime. So I thought, okay, maybe this could actually be pretty good. No, they go back to it. The action is pretty good. Sasha has Charlotte in the Banks statement, but somehow Charlotte reverses it and puts Banks in the figure 8. And Sasha taps out again to lose 3-2. She loses to Charlotte for the 3rd time on pay-per-view. And I get what they're trying to do with Charlotte. They're trying to make her undefeated pay-per-view streak seem special, and whoever beats it, it'd be a huge rub for them, really cement them as one of the top faces in the women's division. But Charlotte, my God, it's the same old thing I feel with her and Sasha at this point. This rivalry has been beaten to death. I'm kind of tired of it. I really hope they move on. They said this is the last battle between them for now, so hopefully Bayley gets inserted to the picture or somebody else to challenge Charlotte at this point. But Charlotte, as a heel, I think she's kind of stale. I mean, she gets on the mic every time, just screams for promos. It's kind of annoying. So hopefully, if Bayley gets inserted to the picture, I mean, they have unfinished business on Survivor Series. I could shake things up a little bit. So hopefully, Bayley is able to finally beat Charlotte and end her reign as the pay-per-view queen. And as for Sasha Banks, I have no idea what to do with her from now, going forward. I feel like all her credibility is shot. I mean, she loses every time to Charlotte on pay-per-view. And she was the one who challenged Charlotte to this Iron Man match and loses. So, like, how can you take that seriously? Plus, she tapped out twice. I don't get WWE's thinking. If she was pinned, fine. She's not giving up. But she taps out twice. And that just, it doesn't sit well with me. I mean, if you're trying to build Banks as a top face, you don't want her tapping out, makes her look weak. And they had a great image. Banks, I think it was her nose or her mouth. Anyway, her face was covered in blood. So if she couldn't get up, and was pinned or passed out. I mean, it looks like she's still trying to fight, but the fact that she tapped out kind of just ruins it. So I don't know what they're going to do with Banks going forward. As I said, I feel like her credibility is shot. Maybe if Bayley beats Charlotte, then they could have Bayley versus Banks, with Banks snapping that Bayley is the one who beat Charlotte on pay-per-view and Banks turns heel. But until that happens, looks like we're going to have another tyrannical, screaming promo from Charlotte tomorrow on Raw saying how she's the greatest, and it's kind of annoying at this point. Following that match, it was the Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. As I said earlier in the show, they were playing at the split between Jericho and Owens, and it came to fruition here. The match itself was really good. There's a cool spot where Owens did a frog splash up the barricade onto Roman Reigns to the announce table. It didn't break, so he did it again, and the second time the table broke, so that was really cool. The action itself was really fast-paced for the most part. There were some slow spots in the game, but it flowed nicely, and I found it very entertaining. And then Jericho gets involved, and he hits the code breaker on Owens. And everybody in the crowd, and me personally watching it back at home, thought, okay, I guess that's it. That's the coffin nail in the Jericho relationship. Jericho is now feuding with Owens, possibly Royal Rumble Universal Championship match later on down the line. But after the match, Jericho picks up the belt, and it looks like he's going to maybe taunt Owens with it, but instead he just hands it to Owens. They hug, and it just turns out Jericho got Owens disqualified to help him retain the title. So the best friends are still best friends for now, and Roman Reigns snaps at this point. Owens and Jericho try to hightail it out of there, but here comes Seth Rollins. A mini Shield reunion, 2/3 of the members of the Shield, no Dean Ambrose unfortunately, but they go on to take out Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. They double powerbomb Chris Jericho through an announce table at ringside, and then Kevin Owens is seen walking up the ramp, so they quickly go up and powerbomb him through the announce table by the main entrance stage. So a couple cool Shield double powerbomb spots. It would have been awesome if Dean Ambrose came out and made a full-fledged Shield reunion. But it was just Reigns and Rollins, and that was how the show ended. Reigns and Rollins standing tall after double powerbombing Jericho and Owens through announce tables. And the show overall, it was good. I mean, most of it was entertaining, but it wasn't must-see. I personally feel like TLC 2 weeks ago that SmackDown produced was much better. But Raw, Roadblock, if you watch it, it's okay. If you don't watch it, you're not missing anything special, in my opinion. I mean, the only thing noteworthy really from the event was New Day losing their tag team championships. That was a fun way to start off the show, but nothing quite as noteworthy happened after that. So yeah, that's Roadblock 2016 in a nutshell. Feel free to watch it if you do. If you don't want to, I won't say I blame you. And yeah, if you like this video, feel free to give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel by clicking the button on screen, or by going down below and clicking the subscribe option. Make sure you check out my website, cincyfanzone.blogspot.com. I write weekly blog posts for it, and every video on my YouTube channel is up there as well. I also have pictures of autographs, different photos of different sporting events and stuff that I go to, and every bobblehead in my collection's up there. And just a really, really nice website that I put a lot of work into it, so I'd appreciate it if you went and checked it out. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.